because our deepest wounds often reveal our greatest purpose. All right, welcome to the Chord of Connection. I am really excited to have Ferah on the show today. She is a business and freedom coach and mentor that I had the pleasure and honor of serving with at Bridge and Extreme this past weekend, and also went through Bridge and Extreme with her as a coach back in February. But this weekend was really special because we got some one-on-one deep connection, and her energy, her vibe, her essence is just pure love and joy and sensuality and just the divine feminine and its full embodiment. So welcome, Kay. So glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. I have no idea what's going to unfold on this podcast, but I'm so excited. And yeah, I right back at you, sister. Like, what a joy it was to get to be serving in the room with you. And now we get to bring that and ourselves and everything that we bring into the world into this beautiful talk we're gonna have today.
Yes, absolutely. So for those of you that listen to the show, you know that I am getting ready to launch a coaching business. I'm so excited about that. And, in my conversations with Kay this weekend, I really got to kind of pick her brain about, her own business and stepping into that and what that looked like. And so we're just going to kind of deepen that conversation today. But I think first, there's so much about your story that I don't know. So tell us who you are.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Um, I believe that I came to Earth to be a way shower for people to remember the greatness of life and remember that each one of us are special and we're a limited time offer here on Earth. We're here for a limited time, and the people who are around us only get to experience us for that time that we're here on Earth. And that I'm just here to remind everyone and to live it myself that you have magic, and the world needs your magic, and you have something beautiful and special to offer into the world. And that is just by being you. And you can create a way for more people to experience that. If it's through a business, through a book, through art, through expression, there's always more ways for people to experience that. So that's been really important to me, and kind of what I feel like I'm here to do on this time. And I would say some of the most important things to know about me is that I won't go into details, but I had an interesting childhood that led to a variety of different experiences, which had me learn how to choose myself at a very young age. And when I learned to choose myself at a very young age, it became a catalyst for the rest of the way that I've lived my life up until now. And in my early 20s, I got the call to travel the world. And because I had learned to choose myself from a very young age, when I got the call to travel the world, I listened and I just did it. Whereas a lot of my friends had graduated college and maybe they had dreams and aspirations, but they had a harder time listening to that voice in their head that was showing them what their calling was. And I didn't have much stopping me because I knew how to choose myself, and I didn't have a lot of external influences feeling like they were telling me what to do. I had a lot of sovereignty in my choice. So when I was 22 years old, I packed up a backpack and I set out to travel the world. And that adventure lasted for 7 years. And I lived out of one backpack, well, two backpacks, one backpacking backpack and another small one for 7 years. And I lived in Africa. I lived in Asia. I lived in South America. I lived in Europe. I lived all around the world for all of these years, and I explored all of my curiosities. And at that time in my life, I was really interested in places in the world that I couldn't imagine in my wildest dreams. I was very interested in Africa because I had only known what I'd seen on TV and I really wanted to go experience it. So I lived in Africa for 6 months and I lived in Asia for a year and I backpacked around um, for many other years after that and traveled around the entire world. And I learned how to make my way doing that because I had to work, I had to make money, I had to have a job. So I found a way to work from my computer. I did many different kinds of things. But the first thing that I did was I was an online English teacher.
Mm.
And then my career kind of progressed and changed. But anyways, I was just teaching English from my computer for all those years, traveling around the world and going to have the craziest, wildest adventures
Oh,
my entire life.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. And then people started asking me, like, how are you doing that? And I was like, I can help you. And so 7 years ago, that's when I started my business. And people were just asking me how I did what I did. And I started helping them. And ever since then, I've been helping people bring their dreams to life. And I've helped hundreds of people become digital nomads, be able to work from anywhere. I've helped many people land remote jobs. And now I am more in the helping people have their own business and that they can take with them anywhere in the world, but also that is part of their dharma, is part of what they feel is their soul's calling, and how to create a business that actually supports them um, and also gives back to the world. So that's
Wow.
that's the lowdown on good old K over here.
Wow. I am just in awe. I mean, you spent the early part of your life doing what probably most every human wishes they could conjure up the courage to do that they don't do in a lifetime. Like, that's incredible. That is incredible. How did you navigate? Did you have fear? I mean, I'm sure you did, but like, what was that like? Just being like, I know it's going to work out, or did you have fear sometimes? Yeah, tell me about that experience of surviving.
Totally. I was so scared. Oh my gosh. Like the first, when I was 22 and I made that decision, I was terrified. Like, I was like, I didn't think I was gonna like make friends. Like, I was really scared about making friends and like being alone. Um, but people just gave me hope. All the people around me were like, no, you're gonna be able to do it. Like, you're gonna make friends. And I mean, I got there, like, I started traveling and of course I made friends. Like,
Mm.
but it was really, I leaned on the people around me. I really did. And the people around me really supported me and like told me that I was going to be okay. And it was true that I was. And like, it was people who believed in what I was doing, who had been there themselves before. And I really leaned on other people to hold the vision for me while I made that leap.
Mm. That's so beautiful. How did your perspective of humanity change through that experience?
So much. I saw people living in probably the worst circumstances you would ever imagine people living in. Um, and I was really intrigued and fascinated and curious about that because growing up, not not to anyone's fault, but I got this like message that if I had money, then I would be really sad inside. Like,
Mhm.
that's how I felt growing up. It's like in part of my childhood, we had all the things we could possibly dream of. And I remember as a child, I just felt so empty and sad inside. And I knew that I didn't want that. So part of my travels was exploring, okay, if like all the material things in the world aren't going to make me happy, then surely if I don't have any of the material things, that's exactly how I'm going to be like the most happy. And I actually found that. I found people who had nothing, nothing, and they were the happiest people in the world. And it was so beautiful. And I
Mm.
found that and I myself like lived that for many years. Like, I was living off of $2,000 a month for like 7 years. Like,
Mm.
and I was also like much more wealthy than the majority of people I was around because I was living in like third world countries, places where $2,000 a month is a lot. So I had a big perspective change. And when I ended up moving back to Colorado, where I'm originally from, I had had an interesting wake-up call that maybe it was possible that I could have both money and love and peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so that eventually led me to, I just showed Danielle before we hopped on here, but that my dream community home that I live in now, where that's actually a huge cornerstone of what's important to all of us who live here. There's lots of, we have 5 different people who live in this house, and we all have different businesses, and um, we are surrounded by nature, and we love up on each other. And living in this house is rewriting the story for me of how I can actually have both financial abundance and happiness in my heart all at once.
Mm-hmm. That is incredible. You know, one thing that stands out to me is it's not actually about not having money that was the source of these people's happiness, right? So what was it? What do you think it really was?
Oh my gosh. I mean, these people had been through literally hell in their lives. Like they had watched their families get killed. And it's kind of like when you go through really hard things in life, my perspective is that there's this like within you. And like also these people, like a lot of them, they knew they would die at any minute. Like they watched their friends die in motorcycle accidents. They were part of genocides, like, you know, so they knew they could die at any second. And they found it within them to cherish life. It's just this resilience that they had within them that they would never even question if they wanted to live or not, because they found a depth within them that has a love for life. One of the things, I love this question. It's just really making me think, like, what was it? And I will say one of the things that I saw the most is like community and connection with other people, and that being a very high priority. And like dancing and singing. There was these people, we visited one of the jails for the genocides, and these are people who are imprisoned from being the killers in a genocide. And when we visited, they were dancing and singing as part of their daily practice in the prison. And they were also all together in community. So community, dancing, singing, nature. Like these people are surrounded by nature. They're not, I mean, I would say they're much more connected to nature than I ever was growing up. And then typically there's access to some people in the States who are sometimes end up locked up at a desk in a place for many hours a day. Like that's not the reality for these people.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think being in America creates a layer of struggle to access that place of, yeah, internal freedom no matter the circumstances?
Yeah, I think that we are very spoiled here.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, like we're spoiled with all of the like amazing amenities and like easy access. So it's kind of like things that other people are so grateful for on a day-to-day basis are so easeful for us here.
Yeah.
So that's number one. But number two, my belief is that our society and kind of the way that it has like unfolded
Mm-hmm.
has created some dynamics that are really challenging for us to be connected to ourselves, because I don't know if I have anything wrong with corporate per se, but what I do have something wrong with is somebody doing a career or being in a life path that they just chose for the money. And that they just chose because it was what somebody else told them to do. And they didn't really think for themselves if that actually was aligned for them or not. And I think like my perspective is that we have the majority of people in the States living like that. having chosen a life that like isn't actually what they wanted, but it gives them the financial security. It gives them so much that it's like golden handcuffs, and it's like really hard to choose your own path because it's so comfy. And like on the other hand, it is so comfy. And what I know from a lot of my clients and people I talk to is it's soul sucking. It's not
Mm-hmm.
actually want for their life. It's not what they actually want for themselves. And so it creates a little bit of a trap where it's like, well, I have everything I need. I have all the money. I have the financial abundance, the house, but I feel dead inside, bringing me
Mm-hmm.
back out of my childhood. Right. And so I think it's important to create a world in which that's not the case, to
Mm-hmm.
create a world in which we're choosing what we want to do because we're choosing what we want to do. And that's what I'm gonna stand for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think if we're in operating in our soul's alignment, then for me, I think that makes a lot more of a happy life.
Absolutely. I mean, you're telling my story, and I think you're right. Probably most of America, right? Like we grow up and we go to school, we're told what to do, we take the courses we're supposed to take, then everybody's like, then you go to college, then you have a family. It's like there's so much programming happening all the time, and we just think that that's the way, right? And then you wake up in a life that's yours that doesn't feel like yours, right? And I was at my job for 9 years, and there was so much attachment to that job, first of all, because it was a family environment. I got sober. Basically, my entire sobriety was spent working there and elevating and becoming a director. And um you're so asleep to that, right? It's like, oh yeah, I guess this is the thing, right? And I remember I had this like tug on my soul for the last few years of like, this is not it, but feeling so afraid of making the jump and needing there to be some concrete like plan on the other side, right? Just something handed to me like, this is the next thing, right? And I kept waiting for that moment and waiting for that moment. And I went to this retreat back in November, and I got this download, and it was like, you keep waiting for the opportunity to arrive, to leave, but it's actually on the other side of leaving. And I was just like, like, wow, yeah, I'm going to have to take the leap without having it figured out and trust that there is a divine source and, abundance, an infinite amount of possibility on the other side. Right. And I remember having that conversation with my dad, Mr. Logical, right? And even my mom was a little bit more like, you know, I wouldn't say my dad wasn't supportive, but he was like, you're going to have to like pay your rent, pay your car payment. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know that. Right. And you can't really, like, I get it. I get why he's so like, it was afraid for me to take the leap, right? Because he would never do that. That doesn't make sense, right? And so a lot of the leap looks like a relationship with the unknown, right? And having this like like this ease and trust in the unknown, and a lot of people just don't, myself included, for most of my life, you know because I needed control to feel safe, right? I needed to control my environment to feel safe. And it's actually quite the opposite, which is just so mind-blowing, and it just doesn't click until it clicks.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. First of all, I just want to celebrate you. Yes.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of bravery to make the decision that you made. And there's never a right time except for the time that your intuition says is the right time. And you're so right that it's going into the unknown of a trust fall that you have no idea what is on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me back to kind of when I decided to travel the world and you asked me, was I scared? And I leaned on the other people around me to believe in me. And I feel very similar when it comes to business, is like, there will be people around you who believe in you. There will be people around you who will give you the skills. You may take turns likely you will take turns in your life after this choice that you have, like, that you could never predict.
Mm.
And yes, that's part of it. That is part of your soul getting into alignment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what those things are until we get brave and take the leap and make the shift, so that actually the things that aren't meant for you can fall away, so you make space for what is for you.
Mm. So a lot of your clients are people who are leaving 9 to 5s. Is that correct?
Yeah, so nowadays, like, I've as I've grown, my business has grown, and now what I really help people do is I help people make that leap and break free from their 9 to 5 to be able to have a business that is using their superpowers and that is actually a real business. So you have a vision, you know what magic you want to bring to the world, or maybe you don't. That's part of what I help people do. And I help you bring that, like, creative vision into an actual tangible business that is making you money on a monthly basis, and that you build into something that fully supports you and is in your magic and is helping people.
Mm. Yeah, what a dream, you know? It's available to all of us. That's the thing. There's no like, it's not limited to the special people, you know? It's like
Yeah.
this is available to all of us. But we have to break free of the mold and the limiting beliefs and all of those things. And, I look back on my journey this past year and even up to this very moment today that I'll tell you about is it was all so divinely orchestrated. Everything was preparing me for the next thing, for the next thing. And I just kept trusting. I would get an intuitive download and I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing next. And I would do the next thing and it would lead me to the next people I needed to meet. And it just kept unfolding. And I did a ton of work around, limiting beliefs around self-worth, money, relationships, body image, like all of these things. And when you get in there, it is, to me, like nothing makes me more fired up than helping people get in there and see what limiting beliefs are running their life. Like that is going to be a huge part of what I offer. Because it changed my life. I was like, wow, I've been holding on to I don't even know where this belief came from, but it doesn't resonate with me. I'm ready to discard that and, claim something different. And through that process, my life keeps opening and opening and opening and opening. And the more that I do that, the more that I realize, like, we are the creators of our fucking reality. Really, truly, we are. Like, and there is some beautiful force just like supporting us at every turn if we just let go and trust, which is really hard. So for those of you listening, I'm not here to, I get it. It's hard. It's hard to lean into that. But I feel like once you do, it's not,
Yeah.
you
Yes,
know?
exactly. Yes. I think of, like, a analogy of jumping off a cliff and growing wings. And it's like, you don't know you have wings until you jump off the cliff. How would you know? You don't need them.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes that. It takes, like, needing to see that they're there at all for some people.
Mhm. Yeah. What do you think are, like, out of all your clients, if you could narrow it down to 3 things, what do you think are the biggest obstacles that people have to overcome taking this leap?
Totally. I love that question. 3 biggest obstacles. Number 1, first and foremost, believing in yourself. Like, believing in yourself and surrounding yourself around people who believe in you.
Mm,
Like, as
yeah.
soon as you actually believe in yourself, then comes step number 2, which is, like, there's something, like, deep inside of us that is like, I will do anything for this because it means so much to me.
Mm,
And, like, if you have that, then that's a good one.
mm,
That is
mhm,
one of the most important things, because you're gonna face a lot of challenges. and roadblocks and things you don't expect and take you on this wild, crazy journey. And if you have that thing within you that is like, this means so much to me that I don't really ever see myself giving up, then you're not going to. And you're going to keep trying to find the skills and tools and all the things you need to bring it to life. So number one, belief in yourself. Number two, this like depth of connection to your why.
Mm-hmm.
And number three is actual tangible tactical strategy and tools, because I see a lot of people not having that. And if you don't have the right tools and actually like know how to get on a call and talk to someone about working together, or to create an offer that is actually something that the market desires, or to be able to deliver your offer. Like if you don't have those tools, like I would say number one is sales, because you need to be able to sell your program and you need to believe in your ability to deliver your program. But if you know how to sell, and if you know how to get people on and have conversations with them, and if you're super passionate about what you do, then that's when the fire starts. And that's when things really, really, really start picking up. And I had a client celebrate on our group call yesterday. She made five figures in 5 days, which was her goal. And previous, like she just started working with me 2 months ago, and she like did not believe, like she didn't know that that was possible for her, but she had the belief in herself. She didn't know it was possible for her, but she believed in herself. She had that thing within her, that fire within her. It was very connected to her why. And so when she started work with me, she refined a lot of the just the strategies and the sales in order to actually make the sales to be able to serve her clients and tap into that realm of possibility for her own self and what's possible for her in her business as well.
Yeah, you make a huge point on the offer being translatable and relatable, because I know like I know very little about this, so I want to hear from you. But what I will say is that, you know, a lot of people who have been in the self-improvement world and the healing world have a certain language, right? That most of the rest of the world don't know, right? And so they're pitching an offer from, this language, and it's not landing for people, right? Because it's like, I need to know the underneath thing, right? When I see somebody who's, saying, do you wake up every day and feel drained the moment you open your eyes and you don't feel excited about going to work, right? It's like language like that catches people, not are you waking up in a life that doesn't feel like yours? That might resonate for some people, right?
Yeah. I love this. And we can make it like even more simple. Really tapping into what you wanted for your life, or what somebody else is saying that they want for their life. And it doesn't, like, yes, eventually there are going to be the bullet points on the landing page and all the things. But if the one sentence that like clearly states your offer, that's the thing that is like really like, oh yeah, I need that thing. So for me, it's like, leave your 9 to 5 and build a business in your passion and purpose. You know what I'm saying when I say that. And a lot of people out there are probably like, I want to leave my 9 to 5 and I want to have a business and my passion and purpose, right? My previous offer before that was land your dream remote job in 90 days. So you know exactly what you're going to get. And you know that you're going to be able to take that remote job and travel around the world. My offer before that was work remotely and travel the world. It's so clear, and it's a dream for people. And yes, mine are in the realm of my niche, but this works for any niche.
Yeah.
So we could even try it with you if you want.
Yeah. No, totally. Because I feel, and I'm about to, dive in with a business coach, but like that's where I keep getting tripped up, is I'm overthinking that piece. Right?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't need to overthink it. Like, you need to be clear on, like, what is the outcome? What is the transformation that people are going to experience with you when they work with you? For me, it was they were going to travel the world, and that's somebody's greatest dream, right? For you, we just need to think about what that is, and like it'll be very clear when it lands. And all the other, like, yes, there is definitely a strategy to copy and all of that, but I didn't have a single in my first 20 sales in my business plus, I didn't have a landing page with copy. I had a post that said, "Do you want to work remotely and travel the world?" I had hundreds of people that said yes on literally a colored Facebook box. And I just wrote those people and asked them about their dreams and got them on calls. I didn't need fancy bullet points. I didn't need copy. I needed to have real, genuine conversations about people, about their dreams. And I needed to genuinely care about helping them and be able to actually help them. So when, like, this is something I'm really passionate about, and like the way that I operate in my business is that for the first part of business, my belief and my experience is that you don't need a fancy, you don't need a website. You don't need fancy bullet points. You don't need like pretty much anything except for knowing how you can help people, people who need that help, and having real, genuine conversations with people and being able to actually help them, and a Stripe payment link. And I built a like multi six-figure business on that. And yes, at some point I had like one landing page with, just a few bullet points on there. But like, that's for me and how I coach, like that's the most important thing. And the last thing I'll say on that is the energy that you bring behind that, and like the love and care that you actually genuinely have for people in their dream to actually, and they'll feel that. And that's one of the greatest gifts you can give people.
Yeah, absolutely. Girl, you're so right. You're so right. So let's talk a little bit about visibility because I think a lot of I know I don't know if you saw my message in WhatsApp today, but I've known that I have a visibility wound, right? And I know that, and I've done a lot of work edging towards more visibility, and it's still there. I noticed myself kind of fade in the back a little bit during Bridge and Extreme, right? There were moments where I was like, on social media, like there's so much like it needs to be perfect or it needs to be edited or whatever. And the truth is that my soul wants to be seen so bad, so bad. Like she's just like, let us be seen, please. And underneath that is a nervous system that was taught that connection is more important than visibility, right? Than being seen.
Yeah.
And so, it's different for everyone, but that's what it is for me, right? That it's not safe to be seen. And so, did you have to go through a visibility? Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, totally. I love this. And a few years ago, I was a very different version of this woman that you're talking to right now. When I went to Bridge, I got some feedback of people telling me I was invisible, mousy. They didn't even know who I was. A lot of people didn't even know who I was in Bridge. People who now have signed on to work with me didn't know who I was in the Bridge room, and now they are my clients. And I didn't even know that I was hiding. And so one of the biggest things that it took me was realizing the truth, which is that I am an attention whore.
Yeah.
I love attention. Like literally, if everything could be about me all the time, I would probably not be that mad about it. Like I would at me. Everything could be revolved around me. Like I want the spotlight. I want to be on the stage. I want to, even a shadowy part of me wants the attention, like over somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually embraced that a lot in bridge because I did bridge twice. So the first time I came in, I got a lot of feedback about being mousy. And the second time I came in and I just like wore all these like colorful clothes and like I interrupted people and like I played the other hand. And I let myself embrace the part of me that wants to have all the attention.
Mm.
And over time, so like at first when I played with that, it was like people were really upset with me. Like they did not like me. They thought that I was, like they thought I was a lot of things. But I needed to do that for me to play the other hand to like recalibrate to find what's actually true. So I did it in a space that's really safe. And still, people were very triggered by me. And I don't blame them because I was like taking all the attention.
I would have died to have seen that.
It was so good. It was so good. I literally did like a sex position on the stage. There was a lot of big attention moments that I needed.
Yeah.
And I got that. I got it. And now the like attention seeking part of me isn't as loud. And I also use it as a superpower in my business and in my life. It's like, whoever said that wanting all the attention was a bad thing? What if that's actually such a gift and fun for people?
Mm-hmm.
And like, it really took me playing on the playground of that a lot and people needing to come up to me and tell me they were triggered by me, they didn't like me, all these things. But I was willing to play the other hand of that so that I could break free from what that was for me. And it was a hell of a lot of fun in the process.
Yeah. Girl, you're so spot on. Well, my experience is slightly different because I've always had I'm a Leo sun, Leo rising. And then, so I am just like everything about my essence wants to shine. But then I have a Scorpio moon, which is very like secret and private. So it's like this conflicting energy where it's like my internal world is like, but my external is just like, be big, bitch,
Yes.
And, but growing up, I just wasn't the it girl, right? And so I did a lot of like people pleasing and my personality became like who I was and then that was really over exaggerated and I woke up to that probably about 6 years ago on a level that was like, ugh, this is so inauthentic. I don't like this version. Yuck.
Yeah.
And then I swung hard the other way, right? And so then it was like, learn how to learn how to step back in a room, learn how to not be the center of attention, learn how to just be a human existing with the rest of the humans, like really lean into that. And then now I'm like, but what's real? Right.
Yeah.
So like I almost had the opposite experience. And I just, yeah. So I'm finding my way into that of just like, part of it's that I have to let go of like not being liked by people. Like some people, I'm not gonna be some people's. I know I'm not now. I've come to terms with that, especially in this past year because I've done a lot of things that I've stepped into more authenticity, and as a result, it's been like off the beaten path, and I know some of my decisions have made people judge me, and that's okay. I feel okay about that today. But it's like really leaning into that and recognizing like I don't like everybody. There are so many personalities that I'm like, ugh. And it's not because they're bad people, but it's just like there's just something about our energies that don't match.
Yes.
And so it's like that's all that's happening on my end too. Has nothing to do with my worth. Has nothing to do with who I am really. It's just a mismatch of energy.
That's right. That's right.
Or a projection, right? Or a projection of their own internal experience. And so yeah, I'm on that journey and as Jupiter is moving into Leo, which is, my Leo rising is in the first house. So it's not a surprise that this is all happening right now because first house is visibility and expression and all of that stuff. And so my soul is literally ready to expand in this way. So
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that you've like shared your journey with that. And it's so cool how like different, everyone has a different journey. And what I'd love to share on that is that like last year I did this workshop that was called Give Less Fucks and Make More Money.
yes.
And it was so edgy for me to launch because I thought that I was the worst person in the world if I launched this.
Oh.
Like because it was this idea that like if I don't give a fuck, then like I shouldn't make money.
Mm.
Like that what? Like that what? But God told me to make this workshop. I'm like, God, this is a cuss word. Why would he tell me to make a workshop a cuss word? But I'm sharing this because I know that you're launching your business, and I know the visibility question seems a bit bigger than just business, but it is a huge edge to be on like whatever social media for so long doing one thing, and then all of a sudden you're like coming out with your business. And
Mm.
it's a big moment. And like you said, just you have it. There will be people who love you and there will be people who hate you, and we have no control over that. But what we do have control over is being the truest version of our own selves and trusting that who does resonate, resonates, who doesn't falls away. And the more we are ourselves, the more we'll be magnetic for the people who are actually in resonance, which is the most important thing because that is what we want in our life, but that's also what we want in our business, right?
Mm.
We want to be magnetic. We want to attract
Yeah.
dream clients. And so
Great.
you're just kind of like dimming your light, then it's harder for them to find you because they
Yeah.
feel all of you because maybe there's some parts that are hiding.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right. I'm feeling really fired up about like really getting down to like my offer because when I am passionate about something, girl, like I can fucking talk someone's ear off. And I get them, I'm like, they're excited about it. They don't even know what they're excited about, but they're excited. And that's the point. That's exactly the point that you're making is like that level of authenticity and passion is so attractive. And when someone is that lit up, I'm like, I want what they have,
Yes.
you know? Like
Yes. Yes.
whatever they have, I want it right now.
Yes, that's it. That's what my client who just made the 5 figures in 5 days. She is on that wavelength. I just went live with her earlier today. She is literally just like, we had a group call on Tuesday, and she's just like inspiring all the women because she's like a well of magnetism because she believes in herself and she's doing these things. So, it's funny because I've been thinking a lot about life lately,
Mm-hmm.
as we always do.
Yeah.
And it's
Us
like,
ears and feelers.
yeah, the most important thing is experiencing that.
Mm.
Everyone wants to feel alive, wants to feel
Mm.
connected. And
Yes.
I believe our businesses are such a beautiful vehicle for us to do that. And
Yes.
it's edgy, and the edginess is part of the aliveness. It's
Mm.
actually meeting that edge and being like, okay, and doing it. And
Yes.
learning to be safe with yourself in the process because nobody else is going to make you safe.
Yeah. Mm. Girl, yes, this is so good. Um, do you think there are lonely aspects about being an entrepreneur?
So much, so
Yeah.
much. I have like over the years of being a solo entrepreneur, I have felt so lonely in my business and have consistently looked for what are different ways where I can find what my soul's actually looking for when it comes to connection, people. So that's one of the reasons I moved into this amazing community home where I live with 4 other entrepreneurs, and we all are doing life and business together. And I get to come home after my workouts in the morning and make breakfast in the kitchen with all my housemates, and that we go on adventures together, and that I live in a community where there's a lot of other entrepreneurs as well, and we do life together.
Mhm.
And as I have progressed in my business, my soul has been like, okay, well, like what what do you need to fuel yourself? Like, what else do I need to fuel myself? And I constantly listen to that. And one of the things, that's one of the reasons I go to Bridge, I go to assist for some other really awesome immersions. And one of the things that have been coming up lately is collaborations and in-person work. So I started to add VIP days to my coaching. I will have a group mastermind meetup on July 11th here in Colorado that I'm doing for them. I'm collaborating with my neighbors who are really experienced, amazing coaches on events that we're having locally about polarity and intimacy. I'm hosting my own in-person women's circles here in the community. So yes, it has been lonely, and I consistently find spaces and places and what my soul is asking for, and I give it to her. And I think in any life that we create, there's going to be the things that are great and the things that are really challenging. And for the things that are challenging, like I could have any career, and I think I would feel that way about some
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it. So it's kind of like, okay, how do I want to be with this challenge?
Mm-hmm.
Can I create a life where that challenge is actually becomes a superpower, becomes something that actually serves me? And that's how I've been operating.
So good, so good. How do you stay grounded, or how do you stay grounded when finances fluctuate being a business owner?
Yes. Such a good question. So I have had huge fluctuations in my finances. I have had made way more money than I've ever made in my entire life in a very short period of time. And then I've also had periods where I didn't know how to handle money and I blew everything.
Mm.
Um, Specifically, one example I love to give is that a few years ago, when I was still getting my business off the ground, I kind of exploded at one point, and um, I made $33,000 in a week, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I was living off of $2,000 a month. I was just like, oh my God, I cracked the code. I can do this anytime I want, which I mean, like, all of that is true. And I had absolutely no idea how to manage that money. At the time, I had credit cards. So I spent all $33,000, and I spent $40,000 more in credit card debt,
Mm.
maxed out every single credit card that I had, and was $40,000 in credit card debt without a single, like without anything to go off of. So I got to dig myself out of that hole and
Mm.
and turn the wheel in my business, in my life. And I needed to go through that lesson to have that moment with myself where I had to learn and got to learn how to manage money. And if I was working like a regular job, I would probably never face that.
Yeah.
Like, I might face it like in a different way, perhaps, but because I had my own business, I had the ability to make that much money in that short of a time. So then I also had the ability to learn the lesson of blowing it all and digging myself out of the hole and believing in myself in those moments where I literally barely had like any money to even eat or knew how I was going to pay my rent with
Mhm.
$40,000 in credit card debt and running a full blown business.
Yes, yes. Ah,
And I stood on my 2 feet and I remembered my power, and I didn't make it mean anything about, I mean, what, that's not true because I did. It was harsh. But I did my best to try to not make this whole circumstance mean that I was any less capable of the version of me that only a few months before that had a $33,000 week.
yeah.
And rooted back into what I had to offer, got
Hmm.
off, brought people in, and
Hmm.
turned the wheel and made sales and built my program even bigger and even better than it was before.
Mm. Girl, yes. Thank you so much for sharing so vulnerably and open because yeah, you're just such a permission slip that way, right? Where it's like, yeah, I'm fucking human too, right? And these experiences, like I signed up for these experiences before I came down to earth. Like my soul knew exactly what I needed to learn the lessons, to grow, to expand, to step into fully, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And I had had a lot of hard feelings on my parents because they both went bankrupt, and my mom's been bankrupt multiple times. And I had a lot of hard feelings on that. And when I reached that point of that debt moment, I like all of that resentment was like so
yeah,
irrelevant. I was like, I get it. That is terrible.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, how did they go through that with kids? Like it
yes.
just totally like helped me lift the veil and like release that resentment or
Mm,
whatever I was holding against them for like, what I felt like was like, oh, they did this bad thing.
yeah, yeah. So good. Sometimes we have to experience it so we can be like, who am I to judge? Like I got nothing. I got nothing.
Yes, yes. And I was like, I will never go bankrupt because that was what they did. And I will never do that. And that's the worst thing in the world if I do. And I didn't end up going bankrupt, but I met the moment that was like very close to it. And
Yeah.
like touching that was like, life is hard.
Mm,
It's way harder than I thought it was. Thank you for humbling me. Okay, what are we going to do
yes.
here?
Yes. Oh, so good. Okay, so we're gonna go into some rapid fire questions. So, what's one mistake everyone makes?
Yeah, I mean, it's plain and simple, like not choosing yourself, like listen, like knowing that there's a message, knowing there's a calling, knowing that your path is off a bit and not listening to it.
Mm, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Biggest myth about entrepreneurship.
That you are gonna like hop in and immediately it's gonna be a cash money machine and it's gonna be so easy and like you're just gonna pop off immediately.
Yes, yes. Favorite investment you've ever made?
Mm. When I was making $2,000 a month, I decided to make an investment into a $15,000 mastermind, and I had no idea how I was going to pay for it, but I decided to do it. And it actually didn't teach me any business strategy, but it gave me everything that my soul was desiring in regards to community, hooking me up with the right people to lead me on my growth path. And that's actually when I had the big launch in business and everything. Even though it didn't teach me any business strategy, it sparked that ignition within me that I like needed so badly to just fall in love with my life and get really clear about what I was desiring.
Mm, so good. One mind shift that changed everything.
Like that slow and steady wins the race, even though there's not really a race to win.
Mm-hmm. Oh, girl, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, like if I was gonna do XYZ forever, if I was gonna have this business forever, then
Mm,
who would I be as I do it?
mm, mm.
And
Yeah.
actually just be who I would be while I do it and trust that that's the most important thing. Because if we get the thing that we wanted to get and we're not having fun or enjoying or who we want to be within it, then why would we even do it in the first place?
Right. It kind of reminds me of what Preston was saying this weekend of like when I get to 75 years old, like, am I gonna be, or maybe he said this in one of our coaching calls, um, am I gonna be upset that I focused and put all my energy into building, building, building and didn't just enjoy and like pace and like revel in the like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to grow. I got my first class, like really like letting things land. Like I'll speak for myself. Like I do not let things land enough where it's like the good things, like, oh, we're so quick to be like, what's next? What's next? What's next? Okay, I accomplished the thing. Now what's next? Right. And it's just, we miss the journey.
Yes. Yes. And that's like when people work with me, like it's so important. Like
Mm.
I like the journey is just important as what you're
Mhm.
building. Like,
Yes.
yeah. Not a single woman in my program will build the thing that she's building if it's sucking the life out of her. That's
Mm. Mm. Yes. If someone listening feels terrified but called forward, what would you tell them?
Find people around you who believe in you.
Mm.
Find people around you who have been where you currently want to leap, and surround yourself with them.
Mm.
And lean into such a level of trust. You have to jump to know.
Mm.
You have to jump to know. But surround yourself with people who can support you as you do.
Mm. If you, and maybe you don't, but if you do, what would be the one thing on this journey that you regret or that you would have done differently had you known what you know today?
Hmm. I probably would have started doing, like, are you saying like in my business or in my life?
In your business.
Okay, great. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
So I would probably have started doing in-person stuff a lot sooner.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've always known I wanted to do it, and I've been scared.
Yeah.
Now I am doing it finally. But in the first year of my business, I knew I wanted to host retreats, and I didn't give it the attention that it was really calling for.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to fly out to Colorado sometime and do something in person with you.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, there's amazing, like a bajillion amazing things you could do out here. Um, yes, it's so good out here. I love it.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, Kay, it has been such a pleasure getting to chat with you and just pick your brain and hear about your like beautiful like unfolding of a life. And I'm just so honored to know you. Like you are a beam of light and your why is so obvious. You know, like you do it in service of others and it is like so apparent. And I'm just like, ooh, so juicy, so good. I love you.
I love you too, sister. Yeah, yeah. Like I feel like the last thing I kind of want to land on is like, a lot of the time you'll feel like the light and the juice of somebody, and you don't always get the full story of
Mm.
the depth. And I know that you're a woman like that too, who's been through a lot in your life. And for me, it's been losing ones that are really close to me, losing my brother to suicide a few years ago, and having a having moments in my upbringing that were really initiating. And I believe that the deeper the feeling that we're able to touch of the pain and the grit and the tears, and that depth also brings us to the highest levels of joy and elation and pleasure. And so if you're listening to this and you're having a hard time for any reason in your life, like my greatest like wisdom would be that if you can feel that challenge and depth in a way that, like, allow yourself to feel it, and find support around you to actually feel it and make your way through it like Danielle and I have in our lives, I promise you that the levels of joy and love
Mm.
and everything you desire are going to be so much higher, and you're going to have so much trust and ease in even the hardest of times, because you'll know how to trust yourself and be with yourself in those moments.
Mm. Beautiful. So, so, so beautiful. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at kferah, Kayferah. And I do have a free workshop coming up that is going to be all around how to build a business in your superpowers with your gifts. And that is meant for the woman who's so much more than her 9 to 5 job. It's for that
Mm.
woman who's leaving her 9 to 5, she's building a business in her superpowers. And I will be hosting that in a few weeks. So that'll be up on my Instagram. And
Ooh.
highly encourage anyone listening, if you end up listening to this before, or I might run it a few times, to come and join and get a clear path and roadmap to bringing that dream to life and getting our soul into alignment.
That's amazing. Is it going to be online?
Yeah, it's going to be online.
Oh, good. I will be up in that room.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much for your time, for your heart, for your energy. And I'm really, really grateful I connected with you and look forward to, getting to watch your life expand and stay connected.
Right back at you, sister. Right back at you. This is so fun. I love you so much.
I love you too, girl. All right. Until next time, may the cord that binds us to one another and to Source remind you that you are never alone, always guided, and always home.